Hey. She's smiling at you and you're all red. In the face you're in love. Hey, man. You're in love. I wanted to see her again, perhaps in the cafe at lunchtime, or perhaps in the cinema in the afternoon. But she wasn't there and I don't remember the film. In the evening we had a drink with old Webb and lovely Lucrezia, that's our name for Mrs. Webb. After that Dave and Harry went to the disco. They wanted to meet some girls. I don't like dancing, but I went to the disco later. I wanted to see her again, the lovely girl with the dancing brown eyes and the nice smile. It was dark in the disco, and I stood near the door and watched the dancers. Then I saw her on the dance floor, and she was with Dave. With my brother, Dave. She smiled at him, too, a lovely smile. I didn't want to watch. I walked out. I went and looked at the sea and thought about things quietly. I thought about her and Dave. Oh no. She's with Dave. I was up early in the morning, before 6 o'clock. I went out again and watched the early morning sun and the sea. There was only one old man and the sea birds there with me. The old man smiled at me, but we didn't talk. I liked being quiet. I went in and had a coffee in the cafe, but I didn't want to eat. All the time I wanted to see her. I wanted her to walk into the cafe and come across to my table and sit down with me and tell me her name and talk to me. But she didn't come. I waited and waited, but she didn't come. At 8 o'clock I went to find Nick and Dave. Dave was very quiet all day, and he was really nice to me. And I didn't see her again before we arrived in Santander at 11. She wasn't there. Will she come? The town story. Camilla's is a small town 50 kilometers from Santander, near the sea. In the town there are quiet streets of old buildings and there is a small square. There are small shops and cafes with tables and chairs. In the square, under the trees, a lot of people from Madrid come to Camilla's for their holidays, and a lot of people from England stay in the town too. In the evenings in June and July and August people like to walk in the streets of Camilla's. They stop in the square and stand and talk together, their children. The children or read their newspapers or talk. Play together. Some people sit at the cafe tables and have a drink and watch. It was disco night in Camilla's on the evening after the boat arrived in Santander from Portsmouth. There were a lot of people in the square, Spanish people from Camilla's and Madrid, but families from England and France and Germany and Holland too. Some of the English families from the boat were there now, in Camilla's for a night or two. Donna was there with her family, at a table under some trees. Her eyes were on the dancers, but she didn't see them. The music was in her ears, but she didn't hear it. She didn't want to look or listen or dance. She didn't want to be there. She only wanted to see the lovely, shy boy from the boat, perhaps to dance with him. I only want to see him again, perhaps dance with him. First Mr. and Mrs. Webb wanted to go to a little place near the beach where they always had good fish. They wanted to have a good time on their first evening in Spain, and later there was the disco in the square at Camilla's. Let's go and eat at one of the places down near the beach. Then we can go to the disco in the square at Camilla's. Okay. Yeah. Right. Mark didn't want to go. He didn't want to eat or dance or talk and laugh. He wanted to sit quietly and think about the good-looking girl on the boat. Where was she now? But Dave and Harry and Nick and Sue all wanted him to go. Later that evening he walked into the square at Camilla's with his friends. They found a table at one of the cafes and they all sat down. Mark looked slowly at the people at the tables near them. Donna looked sadly at the people dancing and standing in the square, then their eyes met. Time stopped. He was here. She was here. He smiled at her with his nice blue eyes. She smiled back at him with her dark brown eyes. Suddenly he wasn't shy. He stood up and started to walk across to her. She was on her feet. Their hands met. She wanted to dance now, only with him. 29 The others watched and smiled, they all knew. And Dave watched and smiled happily. You see, only Dave really knew the story. Only Dave knew his plan for his brother. And Donna and Mark started to dance. They were together. My plan worked, you see. Mark is always really shy with girls and I wanted him to move, to get together with that girl. That's why I wanted him to see us at the disco, to stop being shy with girls, to move